So I am going to give you hours worth of coverage tonight. There is a good chance that we're not going to have things settled by the end of the night. What's going to be different about this year is the likelihood of having a handful of states where ballot counting is going to take a few more days at minimum after today's election. The first batches of results that come in some of these key states may be leaning toward one candidate, but as time goes on, more ballots are counted. You can have a shift. So let me give you an idea of how this is going to roll out throughout the evening. Republican voters, much more than Democrats, by roughly a quarter, 25%. More Republicans will be voting on election day as opposed to Democrats, who did most of their voting or a good deal of their voting in advance, either with early in-person voting or mail-in voting. Now, these exit polls are going to give Trumpers a thrill. They're going to be excited because the exit polls are going to show a preference for Donald Trump compared to the number of people that are out there supporting Biden. Now, the first big what's going to happen state that we're going to see tonight is the state of Georgia, which has always been a red state. If Biden wins Georgia, Trump is toast. North Carolina, my state, super razor thin close. We've got 15 electoral votes here in North Carolina. We're a purple state, so sometimes the election goes blue, sometimes it goes red. So it's going to be really close. But we also have up here in Ohio, the polls close at 7:30. This, again, this is one where pollsters are giving the edge to Biden, and I just don't, my own models, which I'm going to show you in a few minutes, it doesn't support that. I think Trump will take Ohio again with its 18 votes. Now, Florida, Georgia, and Ohio, these are crucial to Trump's path to victory. If he does not win these, and he's going to win all of them, he's screwed. Down in Arizona, what's happening in Arizona is you have this increasingly diverse demographic shift. You've got a suburban electorate that has rapidly changed from once was just a white GOP stronghold. It's now a swing state. They've got 11 electoral votes up for grabs. Who was it back in 96? I think it was 1996. Bill Clinton beat Bob Dole in Arizona. But that was pretty much the only time in the last 30 years or so that a Democrat has won Arizona. But it is very close. It is very close this time around. What Biden has focused on doing is trying to rebuild this blue wall. The problem up here is that portions of Michigan and Wisconsin are slower to report the mail-in ballots. And so that raises the possibility that the initial results that we see tonight from Michigan and Wisconsin are going to lean toward Trump. And again, he'll claim victory. But as the votes are counted from the mail-in ballots over the coming days, that would flip back toward Biden. The big talk of the night is going to be Pennsylvania, because this is where all hell is going to break loose tonight. Because it is likely that Trump in the day of voting, those votes cast today, are probably going to give him the edge. He will likely claim victory. And then one of the problems with Pennsylvania is that the way that they count their votes. And so let me bring up something here and show you. When you look, though, at these various states, some of them are going to be counted tonight. Because, like, for example, Florida, they have to count all of them tonight. No ballots that come in tomorrow are allowed in Florida. And I kind of like it that way myself. So Florida, we will know tonight. But when you look at some of these states, like Pennsylvania Pennsylvania is one where they only count some of the mail-in ballots today. And Pennsylvania is crucial, absolutely crucial for Donald Trump's reelection. If he doesn't win Pennsylvania, he doesn't win the White House. And so what Trump will do is exactly what I've told you guys many times in the past, that when the CIA tries to flip a country, carry out a coup against another nation, what do? They run a candidate like Juan Guaido. They get out there, and before the votes have even been counted, you have your candidate declare victory. And that way, the supporters all believe, aha, my candidate won. Why would he have said that he won unless it were true? And that way, when the votes do get counted and the votes show that you actually didn't win, now you can claim fraud. You can say, aha, see, all along I told you that the other side was going to steal this. We already won it, and now they're stealing it. And that's exactly what Trump plans to do in Pennsylvania. So that's why if Biden doesn't win Pennsylvania by a huge margin, and I don't believe he will, but if he doesn't win it by a huge margin, then we're going to have this Pennsylvania issue dragging on for a number of days. And because Donald Trump has threatened multiple times, and I think it pretty much is a promise, that if he doesn't win it big himself, what he's going to do is sue. And the strategy for Trump going into this is pretty dastardly. Never has, I don't think it's ever been attempted in U.S. history, but this is something that his attorneys, his campaign lawyers, have actually discussed, and that is in those states where Trump has to have them to win, the 270. If it is a state that has a Republican-controlled legislature, but Trump loses or appears to lose, the goal is to sue, tie the case up in courts, just like they did in 2000 down in Florida, which was, if any of you are old enough to remember that, what a crazy thing that was. But tie it up in the courts, and that way, the U.S. Constitution does not prescribe how these votes have to be allocated, how the electors from each state have to be chosen. That's up to the discretion of the states. So states have various ways of doing it. But ultimately, if, for example, let's just say hypothetically, Joe Biden wins Pennsylvania or appears to win because of all of these mail-in ballots that get counted in the days to come, Trump ties it up in court, and then or in whatever state that has a Republican-controlled legislature, what you do is you tie it up in court so that it gets to the mandated extent to by which the deadline by which the state electoral commission has to certify who won, right? So if we get to, and I believe it's around the 14th to 16th of December, somewhere in there, is when the states have to certify. So if the court case has dragged it out and there is no certification because you keep suing and keep suing, then what happens is the state legislatures have an obligation to certify the results one way or another. And if it is a Republican-controlled legislature, what you do is you have the Republicans vote and say, well, everything's in limbo. We got to decide. And in our opinion, Trump has a case here. And so we're going to give it to him, even though there are, say, I don't know, a couple 100,000 votes, mail-in votes for Biden that are under dispute and have him ahead. We're just going to give it to Trump. That's basically what they were doing down in Florida in 2000. So there's going to be a lot of dirty trickery. This is going to be a crazy campaign for votes. Even though the election's over, the real campaign and the trickery of it all will really kick in here shortly. This is what the mainstream media was predicting: a Biden landslide victory. And they had Biden winning Texas. They had Biden winning everything. And then the third one, this was the scenario where I predicted what a Trump victory would look like. Trump victory would mean that he would pick up, well, I had him picking up Arizona instead of Michigan and Wisconsin. But still, Trump winning Pennsylvania, Ohio, Georgia, North Carolina, Florida. Those are the scenarios. The one that I picked, the one that I backed, is scenario one, with a not a landslide victory, but a victory over Trump. Yeah, if Biden loses, this will be the first election that I missed since I started doing this in 1984. I'm sorry, 1988. 1988. The first campaign I worked on was as a teenager, was in 1988, and I've put out my predictions ever since then. So of course I don't like to have my record broken, but looking at these voting margins, this tightest election I've ever forecast, and I'm super close on some of these. Even if I'm off, I've missed 3 or 4 states here by 2%. And we know it's going to be through lawsuits and such that will ultimately determine who wins. So all of that's going to happen in the next couple hours. Then we get into tonight. Typically the candidates give their speeches, right? You know that Trump's going to go out and talk tonight. Biden will go out and say something, but these may not be. I don't expect Biden to concede tonight. I don't expect Trump to concede tonight.
It's also clear that we have won Georgia. We're up by 2.5% or 117,000 votes with only 7% left. They're never going to catch us. They can't catch us. This is a fraud on the American public. This is an embarrassment to our country. We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election.
What he is doing is
so our
very
goal now
dangerous.
is to ensure the integrity for the good of this nation. This is a very big moment. This is a major fraud in our nation. We want the law to be used in a proper manner. So we'll be going to the U.S. Supreme Court. We want all voting to stop. We don't want them to find any ballots at 4 o'clock in the morning and add them to the list, okay? It's a very sad...
The man is predictable.
It's a very sad moment. To me, this is a very sad moment, and we will win this, and as far as I'm concerned, we already have won it.